Imagine a jumbo
Roger
jet
that.
full of families,
Ready for
students,
taxi.
and a US congressman gliding through the night, and a pair of fighter jets stalking it in the dark. Two flashes, silence, and then for 11 long seconds, nothing but a cabin pressure alarm that the pilots don't yet understand. That's the moment Korean airline flight 007 crossed a line nobody thought a civilian airliner ever would, and
Roger
paid
that.
for it with
Ready for
269 lives.
taxi.
1st September 1983, a Boeing 747 wandering off course, Cold War jitters, and missile near Sakhalin Island. But here is the bold question. How does a long-haul passenger jet drift over 300 kilometers off its intended path, penetrate one of the most sensitive airspaces on Earth twice, and get mistaken for a spy plane? The black boxes were not public until a decade later, and when they finally were, they changed the story. Stay with us to know the reality. At 4 a.m. local in Alaska, KAL 007 departs
Roger
the
that.
polar route towards
Ready for
Waypoint Path,
taxi.
planned to track R-20 to Tokyo's control sector. Somewhere after departure, the inertial navigation system alignment or mod selection goes wrong. Instead of flying the programmed great circle, the 747 ever so gently drifts right off course. No one in the cockpit notices. The course error grows slowly enough to look normal. By the time it approaches Kamchatka Peninsula and scramble interceptors, radar outages, and command and control confusion plague the chase. The 747 slips back out over international waters. To controllers, the target looks like it's probing, then retreating. A classic reconnaissance profile. The Soviet narrative hardens. This must be a US spy flight pretending to be a civilian. Southwest of Sakhalin, a Skui S-15 finally slides in behind the 747. The fighter reports visual contact with a large four-engine jet using bright landing lights, the sort of detail that should have screamed airliner. Still pressure climbs on radio net. Don't let the intruder reach international airspace again. The Su-15 fires two AA-3 missiles. One proximity-fused warhead detonates behind the tail, showering fragments that puncture the fuselage. Trigger a decompression alarm 11 seconds later. Damage a crossover elevator and kick the big jet into a slow, strange climb. The autopilot then kicks off. The crew, still speaking calmly to Tokyo radio, says they will descend to 10,000 feet. Engines are normal. For more than a minute, the 747 remains flyable. The control degrades. Radar shows the target descending near Moneron Island with no survivors on board. Within hours, the world erupts. Washington calls it a massacre. Moscow first denies, then admits a shoot-down, insisting it was defending its border. For ordinary viewers, it's not just a geopolitics, it's the nightmare realization that your vacation flight can blunder into battlefield. Cockpit complacency plus 1980s navigation over the vast Pacific without GPS and with minimal cross-checks. A single wrong switch or misaligned reference can create a slow drift you won't feel. Radio checks sound routine and the jet sails onward, right through the invisible don't cross line. In other words, human factors and system design failures met a higher trigger defense posture. A number you will remember: 269. That's everyone on board, including 22 children and US Congress Larry McDonald. For their families, the politics never mattered. Only the unanswered questions did. Now the twist I promised. For years, conspiracy theories filled the vacuum. Forced landing, survivors taken prisoner, secret shootouts in sky. But in 1992, after Soviet collapse, Russia handed over the flight records and internal military transcripts to the International Civilian Aviation Organization. The data showed no evidence of safe landing or prolonged flight. They confirmed the missile proximity burst, the decompression timing, the control damage, and the final descent near Moneron Island. The myth-making didn't survive the numbers. There is one lasting change you live with every time you fly or use your phone: civilian access to satellite navigation. In the tragedy aftermath, US policy opened what becomes GPS to global civilian use to prevent drift into danger. The idea was simple: give every cockpit, every ship, and eventually every
Roger that.
smartphone a precise
Ready for
positions,
taxi.
borders, or lines you can actually see. So what's the lesson we learned from KL007? Systems
Roger that.
should be designed to
Ready
scream
for
when you are
taxi.
wrong, not whispers. And in tense times, leaders must build protocols that distinguish confusion from aggression. Because when the sky turns into a chessboard, innocent people end up as pawns. The 269 souls of Flight 007 may your memory keep the skies safer.